Hello y'all and welcome back to the channel. Marquita here, and today we're going to just be having a little book chat about some new books that I got. Not about the books in terms of a summary or talking about them, just me showing you some new books that I picked up. And also we're going to be looking at some of the Aldi items that have gone viral from the bookish kind of section. So this is really just a bookish chat, not necessarily a book chat, because we are just showing off some book related items as well as some new books. So make sure that you get comfy. It's not going to be too long, and I'm going to show you guys what I picked up so far and maybe some things that I still may be thinking about picking up in the Aldi bookish piece. So before we get started, please be sure to like and subscribe and also share if you like what you see. So let me go ahead and start with the things that I picked up from Aldi. And so if you didn't already know, Aldi in their infamous aisle of shame, which is the aisle in Aldi that is the non-food aisle that usually has all the goodies, seasonal items and household things and just all kinds of things that we like, little trinkets and things that we like, want, and really don't need. But Kirkton House is their in-house brand. They do a lot of the throws, and they really are good throws. I have purchased a few of the seasonal ones from Christmas and around Christmas time, and I want to say one other occasion, maybe Valentine's Day, and they had some really nice ones. And I have washed them, and they feel amazing. They did not do a lot of shedding. So if you're wondering about the quality of the plush throws from Aldi, if you've seen them and maybe wondered about them, they are very soft and they wash very well. So I picked up two of the throws that were out, and these are of course book themed, and this one is the one that says just one more chapter. So I'm going to show you the actual picture so you can kind of see what the blanket will look like when it's fully out, fully open. This is a 50 by 60 in terms of size. It is machine washable, and I'm going to wash it and the other one that I'm about to show you that I picked up before using them. And honestly, if they still have some left, I'm probably going to go back tomorrow, and my thought process is to maybe keep one or two for myself. Not that I need any more throws anywhere in my house. Like, it's gonna explode if I bring too many more in. But they're just so cute, I couldn't resist. And I do like to read, so cozying up on my sofa, or just relaxing and curling up with a book, these would be very appropriate. This is the second one that I picked up. Again, same size, 50 by 60, machine washable. And here, trying to get you guys a good view of the pattern that's on there. So that looks kind of like following books. It kind of gives a little bit of the Mandalorian theme in terms of the color scheme with the blue and the greens, but those are books, and looks like some kind of leaves. What else is on here? Yeah, like flowers, books, candles, almost like what you would have, like if you were making yourself a little cozy session. Like right now, I have a candle burning, and I am going to probably do a little reading session once I wrap up with filming today. And then, so these say soft and cozy, machine washable, and I didn't mention the price. I don't think these were $4.99 each. So $4.99 each. $5 for a nice plush, pretty decent sized throw. Is not bad at all. They have quite a few other patterns. I think they have about 5 different patterns total. And there are a couple more. And so my thought process was to keep 1 or 2 for myself, and then take a couple to my classroom for next year, or when the school year starts, because my students in their high school, it can be 9 degrees outside and they'll be talking about they're cold. Some of them bring their own kind of throw blankets like that they will wrap up in class. So I would like to be able to keep maybe 1 or 2. And also I plan in my classroom, I am an English teacher, so I would like to maybe make like a little nook where, like, get some carpet, maybe get a couple of cozy bean bags or chairs where they could sit and read, and maybe have a blanket or 2 available if they want it, just for that. So that is my thought process. So hopefully I will be able to score a couple more blankets, and then keep maybe 1 or 2 for myself. So again, $4.99. The size are 50 by 60, and they are machine washable. And last but not least, from that collection, I picked up one of the tote bags, and again, just like the blankets, they had about 4 or 5 different patterns. I do not need another tote bag, but this one was too cute for me to resist. It has like different books on there, like Little Women. I see one about plants, both relatable. Something on Greece, Pride and Prejudice, Great Expectations, poems, notes. So I just figured, like, as an English teacher, or as someone who likes books, I can use this somewhere. This is just called the Book Club Tote. And again, the dimensions of this are 14 by 15 by 5 by 5 inches. The other thing about these are pretty sturdy. They're not like that cheap canvas. They are good sturdy canvas. So you could legitimately use this if you are maybe a student or you go to meetings or something. You want to put like a notebook or what is it? Portfolio, like the pad folio with your pad in it. Maybe a couple of textbooks, and the straps are pretty good there. So I would say, you could carry this, a laptop or a tablet, iPad. All of that will fit in here if you are, traveling at conferences, things like that, and you may want to bring your personal items. This will make a great bag for that. And again, it's $4.99, so a great price, can't beat that. And like I said, they had other patterns, but this one was just too cute. But I don't need any more tote bags, so that's why I only allow myself to get that one. And now, before I move on to the books that I picked up, I did want to talk about the other items that were very popular. They had some bookmarks, and they also had stickers, like, you can put on your Kindles, laptops, iPads, how people decorate. They had those types of stickers. But the one thing I will say, I did want the stickers. There was 3 different sets of stickers that you could choose from, and the set that I wanted was not available in the one store where I looked at it. And then they also had the bookmarks, which I didn't need, and they weren't like regular. They were more like the metal kind of clip-on bookmarks. So if you like those, they had those in different patterns, very pretty. So I am going to look at a different Aldi tomorrow to see if I can get the last little things that I want. They also have the storybook vases as well as storybook candles. I didn't realize, I knew that they had candles. I didn't realize they also had storybook vases. So the first time I didn't really look too hard at the candles and vases because I didn't really want the candle. Even though they're very pretty, I just don't need any more candles. I have like about 40 Bath and Body Works 3 wicks right now that are sitting on a bookcase unused. So I don't want to buy any more candles right now, but I did want to buy 1 or 2 of the vases. I wanted the one that was the Pride and Prejudice one. It's purple, and then I wanted I think it's like fairy tale or something, but it's blue and gold, and they would actually match color themes in my house. So those are the 2 that I wanted to buy. So I'm going to see if I can still find them. The vases sold out. I've seen the candles more often still lingering than I have the vases, but I did see the Pride and Prejudice one up close. The Little Women one was gone everywhere I've been so far. So I'm going to check and see if there are any remnants or any leftovers of those. But I know that since they have gone pretty much viral and people have been snatching them up, and then some people are unfortunately using these items, buying a bunch of them out of the store to resell for ridiculous prices. If you are not aware of how much these things cost, the bookcase or the storybook candle is $7.99. The vase is $9.99. There are people selling these for $30 and $40 a piece. Have I seen book vases like that for $30 and $40? Yes, but I'm telling you, the ones from Aldi are only $7.99 for the candle and $9.99 for the vase. I would not recommend paying much more than that. I could see if you paid maybe, like, if the vase is originally $10, maybe you pay $15. That to me is fair because you're paying a little bit for a little convenience. But I would not pay $40 or $50 for these things. I mean, if you really want them, I guess. But I'm just telling you what the retail prices are. Michael's also has flower vases and like the kind of fake book look. If you're wanting that for your current decor, look other places before you buy from a reseller. I really wish we could just discourage people from doing that, because I understand in this economy, we all want to make money. But to me, to clean out a store, especially when it comes to items that are limited, where like once they're gone, they're not coming back, that is not fair at all to people who actually want the items and go to the store and will buy them, and they're sold out because you're reselling, taking them to resale, versus if you leave them there, people can get them, so they wouldn't be a rare find or hard to find if you actually bought what you wanted and needed, versus just buying them out to resell. But that's reseller life. I get it. But when in certain situations, I would say it's probably more cause for it. But for stuff like this, if you just leave it in the store and take what you need, it would make all of us happier. But either way, that's my little lecture on resales and things. But just keep in mind what the retail prices are if you do decide to pay a higher price, because you just want to add that to your aesthetic. Now let's get into the books that I picked up. I have books from Books A Million, and then I have a couple more from Dollar Tree, because I keep telling y'all, do not sleep on Dollar Tree. Now, some of these I didn't necessarily buy for myself to read. I bought to add to my classroom library. And as a reminder, I teach high school upperclassmen, juniors and seniors, so basically adults. But this one, I'm gonna go through start with the Books A Million, and then we'll jump into the Dollar Tree books. So I got these two from Books A Million. This one was a bargain book, so it was only $5, and it's called What's Mine and Yours. And it's by, their name's on the side, Naomi Coaster. I have never heard of this author or this book. However, it sounded very good, and I'm a person, if I read the back of a book and it sounds good, I will buy it, or I'll download it on Audible or whatever I'm seeing it on. So I also see that it has some praise from Elizabeth Acevedo, who I have read her work. I do like her work. And I'm assuming that this author might be either Afro-Latina or Hispanic, just because one, that's Elizabeth Acevedo, and then Naima Coaster. So that's and one of the main characters is also, it's a black lady and a Latina lady. They're friends in the story. So that's kind of what leads me to that. Oh, well, now I will know, because here's the author here. All right. And she also wrote a book called Hazley Street, which I think I've heard of before. Yeah, so I was just trying to see. But she lives in Brooklyn with her family. But this story, What's Mine and Yours, it takes place in the Piedmonts of North Carolina. So again, y'all know I'm originally from North Carolina, so anything that has a connection like that for me is also a win. Two family paths become unexpectedly intertwined over 20 years. Jade and Lacey May are two mothers determined to give their children the opportunities they never had. After a harrowing loss, Jade wants to hand down the tools her son, G, will need to survive in America as a sensitive young black man. Meanwhile, Lacey May, having left the husband she loves, strives to protect her three half-Latina daughters from their charming father's influence. So I would assume here that with the Lacey May, that maybe the dad is Latina and she's black. Now, I think based on this, what they're saying. And then they basically end up, both sets of children from both friends, both ladies, end up at a predominantly white high school due to the initiative draws. So if you're not familiar, sometimes when schools have certain programs, that maybe when one school may offer a certain program that another school doesn't, or whatnot, or just to kind of bring in a variety of students, they would do like lotteries and things like that, where students who aren't in a boundary for a certain school can attend a certain school. And so it sounds like that's what happened. So they basically lived in a black neighborhood, and now they're going to a predominantly white high school. I have a similar experience, but middle school level with that, so I can relate to that sense of how that would be for the children. But with that, each mother stands on different sides of the integration debate in terms of, like, I guess, how they feel about it. So it sounds like they're trying to slowly integrate this predominantly white school to kind of make it more diverse. And so it seems like one parent feels one way about it and one feels a different way. And this is where then the daughters meet up. and then they, start to bond and all of that thing. And so it just kind of plays out from there. But it sounds really good. It sounded really interesting to me. So that's why I picked it up, and it has tons of good reviews just to show you guys. And for $5, it definitely sounds like a winner. So I will be happy to start on this one. And again, it'll be my first read from this particular author as well. And again, that's What's Mine and Yours by Naima Coster. And it was $5 at my Barnes & Noble. Another bargain book that I got, which I've heard of this book, knew about this book, and read a book by this author already. It is called Long After We Are Gone, and the author is Tara Shelton Harris. And this one was $5.99, also in the bargain book section. And I actually have this downloaded on my Audible. I hadn't listened to it yet, but I do like this author. I think originally when this book came out, I saw it in hardback, so that's why I ended up doing the Audible copy. But now, for $5.99, I'm fine with adding it to my collection, because another book that she wrote that I have read and really enjoyed was One Summer in Savannah. And so I'm looking, because my bookcase is right over there. And then I also have her other book that had the really pretty flower design on it. That's another one of her books. And then we have this one. So I think, let me not lie to you guys, yes. And so that's why I added this one to the collection. So this will be my third book by the author. I haven't read the other one either, so this will be the third book that I picked up. I've read one of three, so I will let you know how this one is. But this one has to do with a father dying when I guess he's the last parent, and then the children come back to North Carolina to save their kingdom in their ancestral home at 200 acres. Now, reading the back of this, it seems like this ties into another book that I listened to on Audible, with the kingdom and the family and all of that. So I'm going to look into that, but it sounds like it ties into that. So I love that. So yeah, it sounds really good. But basically, the children now have to kind of come in, take over, and try and keep, it sounds like, some land that they have. So really love this. Really love the premise of this. And so yeah, $5.99. Can't wait to get into it. And those are my two Books A Million. I would highly recommend, if you have one in your area, to check out Books A Million. They do have some pretty good books and a little bit better prices than Barnes & Noble, which can be a little bit pricier, but Barnes & Noble is also a good bookstore, and they can have some great deals too. My last few books are from Dollar Tree. I keep telling you guys, do not sleep on Dollar Tree. Of course, they do vary. The selection varies by location, but I will say that, sometimes some of them carry more children's books than adult books, and then some of them might have a pretty good mix for both. Right now, for the children's books, there's lots of Judy Blume, I think Nancy Drew, and there was one other popular children's. I've seen Goosebumps in there. So a lot of things that probably, if you're around my age and my generation, childhood books that we read, they have them in Dollar Tree right now, and they're $1.25, $1.50 each. So if you are a teacher, or if you're just trying to build your child's library, or even just get them into reading or whatever, check out Dollar Tree for good reads. Or even if you're looking for a book for yourself, you can find good books that are out, popular. They're not just some random books that you've never heard of by people you never heard of. There are a mix of some of those, but I've even found some of those to be good. So I'd recommend checking out your Dollar Tree. But anyway, this book that I picked up is called The Lagos Wife. And it was actually originally called The Niger Wife, which I had heard of before. And I'm pretty sure I can get an idea of why they changed the name. But it's the same book. So if you've heard of that book, we're curious about it, this is now the new name of it, but it's the same book. And this apparently was a Good Morning America book club book at some point. The author is Vanessa Walters. And again, for $1.25, $1.50. And this is about a lady who has a husband. She lives in Lagos, Nigeria, and a glamorous group of friends known as the Niger Wives. This is a community of foreign women married to wealthy Nigerian men. And then Nicole, who is our main character here, disappears without a trace after a boat trip. The cracks in her so-called perfect image start to show. As the investigation turns up nothing but dead ends, her strange auntie, Claudine, decides to take matters into her own hands. In Nigeria, she digs into her niece's life and uncovers a hidden side filled with dark secrets, isolation, and even violence. But the more she discovers about Nicole and the more Claudine's own buried history threatens to come to light. So basically, this is one of those it ain't what it looks like to the outside is not what's really going on type situation. So it sounds like it's a really good book, has a lot of good praise. So I can't wait to get into that. And like I said, it was originally called The Niger Wife, but they renamed it to The Lagos Wife. So it is the same book if you've heard about it, by Vanessa Walters. Now this is one that I do plan to keep for myself to read. These last two that I got from Dollar Tree, and I went to two different Dollar Trees. I will be adding to my, classroom library. As I mentioned before, I'm not really a huge fan of hardbacks, but I know Stranger Things is very popular with a lot of students now, or with kids in this generation. I have not watched all of Stranger Things. I know what it is. I'm a little bit aware of it, but I haven't sat down and watched it. But this is an official Stranger Things novel by, it's called Rebel Robin. So if you have like kids who are into Stranger Things or, curious about it, this might be, something worth checking out. And again, $1.50. So Robin Buckley has spent her whole life trying to fit in. Now she's going to break out. So this is Robin here, and she's part of the Stranger Things crew, Hawkins High School. I do know that. And this other one is called Dear Miss Metropolitan. And this one sounded really interesting. It's one I may actually read it, but it sounded really good. It's by Carolyn Farrell. And this one sounded interesting. It is a work of masterful storytelling, unexpected humor, provocation, and ultimately hope. Fern seeks refuge from her mother's pill-popping and boyfriends via Soul Train. Gwen finds salvation in the music of Prince, much to her congregation's dismay, and Yesenia, miles ahead of her classmates at her gifted and talented high school, is a brainy and precocious enigma. None of this matters to Boss Man, who abducts them and holds them captive in a dilapidated house in Queens. Only two of the victim girls are found when they are rescued. On that night, throngs line the block, gawking and claiming ignorance. Among them is lifelong resident Miss Metropolitan, advice columnist for the local weekly. But how could anyone who fancies herself a newspaper woman have missed a horror story unfolding in her own neighborhood? The mystery surrounding the fate of the third girl and the fragmented existence of the survivors stand at the pulsing center of this literary page-turner. Carolyn Farrell, who's the author, extraordinary and original novel, explores the intersections of grief and rage, personal strength and healing, and what we owe one another. Sounds very good. So it seems like the other character, Miss Metropolitan, who is this writer for, her local paper, she feels some kind of way because this event, the girls that were kidnapped were being held in what sounds like, which unfortunately this is happening in real life, held in a house in her neighborhood, and she was unaware until they were rescued. And so she feels like, how can I call myself a news reporter and I couldn't even pick up on something strange going on in my own neighborhood? So now she's digging a little into it and trying to figure it out. So it sounds like a very interesting book. And again, this would be a young adult book here. And I never heard of it, but Dear Miss Metropolitan sounds really good. And I probably will read this one and then also add it to my classroom library. So those are all the new books that I picked up and new items that I picked up, bookish items. I am probably, like I said, if I can find some more of the things from Aldi, I will probably add them to my collection. So I might add them in somewhere later on down the line in a different video. But I did want to mention this book as well. I think I mentioned it just in a regular book haul, but this is called Bones at the Crossroads by Ladarian Williams. That's my bookmarking way up there. But this is part 2 to Blood at the Root, which I've already finished reading, and I have mentioned that one before. But one, check out our detailing. The first book also had the painting, the design there. But the other thing I wanted to note is this is a really good book. this is book 2, and once I finish this book, as you can see, I got a good little chunk in there. Because I just started not too long ago. I'm only on page like 114, but it's a really good book. It's a page turner, and as you can see, there is a third book called Ashes at the Altar, but I feel like I'm not sure if that one is out yet, or maybe it's only out in hardback, and you know how I feel about hardbacks. So I'm going to check into that, but I felt like maybe the paperback comes out in September. So I'm going to double check and see how that goes and see if I can find it, but I know I'll be reading book 3 because I love book 1. And I'm enjoying book 2 as well. So I will report back once I finish at least book 1 and 2. I will do a video just on these 2. And honestly, like I mentioned, the Ledgerborn series, these tie in. They are not related, not the same author, but the premise is similar, except you have male character here versus a female character, but some similar situations in terms of fantasy and magical powers. But if you like a magical HBCU, then this right here is recommended. So I'm enjoying it so far. I'm enjoying this author's writing and the storyline. So I can't wait to see what else is happening. Fully invested. And so that's the last of the books. This also I picked up from Books A Million. So I just wanted to share my new bookish things. Let me know if you guys got any of the viral items from Aldi, if you know what I'm talking about. If you got blankets, if you managed to score the vases or candles, if you wanted them. Like I said, my store had plenty of the candles. I just didn't have interest or need for those. But let me know if you guys scored them and how you like them. I also heard that the Little Women one, some of them had the words, like on the front it just says Little Women, on the back there's like a little saying, a little excerpt, and that is upside down. So that on some of them, not all of them. But if you do come across the Little Women vase and you want to purchase it, check to see if the writing's upside down. It doesn't really make much of a difference, but it's just kind of a cute quirk on the item. But thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and let me know, what are you reading right now, and if you are a young adult reader or enjoy reading young adult books as well. See you next time.